So I love that mobility. Moving, yes, that is, I loved your just stand up and take two steps,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because I know even in this time when I was, when I was at home and it first happened, right, I didn't even really want to get out of the off the couch, right? But
Mhm.
once, right, I just love that. Just stand up, take two steps, and just take that one connection.
Yeah. And the biggest
Wow.
challenge with that, right, is that, and this is the word that everyone hates, but we all know and love, but we all hate, is intentionality.
Yes.
It takes intentional motion to do
Mhm.
that. That's
Yeah.
the hard part. We all know we're supposed to exercise. We all know we're supposed to eat properly. But this is knowledge
Mhm.
compared to the application.
Yeah.
And so if we can find those little things just to
Mhm.
kind of help us, just a little more step, then that allows us to then move forward. And then we end up doing the things that we actually want to do. We're not just starting, we're now maintaining and finishing what we
and
want to
and then we're
accomplish.
able to connect, right?
Yeah,
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 that is so important.
absolutely.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably the only thing that's kind of on my head and heart right now, I would say, is the other word that I like to also include. I know we've talked a lot about different things, right? Within that concept of space. But the other word, I think, when we think of these things like routine, mobility, connection, and some of the other topics we've touched on, is a very important word that I've been sharing with my clientele specifically, but and with your viewers too now, is the word flexibility. All right.
Mm,
See,
yeah.
part of the challenge, all right, is that I use New Year's as an example for this. All right. We go, oh, I have a New Year's goal. I'm going to lose 1,000 pounds. I'm going to, whatever. Okay. But at the end of the day, that's where these industries make their billions of dollars because they know no one's going to follow it because we have too rigid of routines. We set up goals. We set up these things. Yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm pumped. I like what Jeremiah said. I like this video we saw at the beginning. I'm going to do it. And the next day, snooze, snooze. All right. And so we have to remember to be flexible within that. Yes,
Yes.
use your different goal setting strategies, your smart, analogies, that's timely and all those different analogies and stuff. Great. But be flexible within it. In your mobility, be flexible. If you're not at the energy level, or if you're dealing with that grief and loss, whatever that might be, hey, if you just lost your job yesterday, I don't expect you to do all these great and wonderful things in one day. But you can get up and take two steps forward and go on the couch and enjoy the nice day and get the fresh breath of air that you need and require. Go for a small walk or something like that. Create that momentum to be able to even just getting dressed, to allow yourself your own moral dignity in your own life, to create that normalcy within our life. Okay. So it's very much, oftentimes we talk about cycles of addiction. Well, in that, and using the concept of flexibility, we want to be flexible and create our own cycle of health. We oftentimes talk about cycle of addiction, cycle of abuse, cycle. Man, what about the cycle of healthy living? Create space. And in that, we're creating routine, create mobility, create connection, and just kind of keep going around and around. And eventually, like that wheel, we create then a healthy thing. I had another viewpoint that I really like is taking that circle, but let's put it this way. And it actually creates a spiral. So, yeah, there are going to be days where we're going to go down. Okay. And I'm going to shift the picture again. All right. It's like the stock market. All right. We want to create momentum, but there are going to be days where things go down. But eventually, if we keep doing our best to do little things here and there, like the stock market, yeah, we might have a crash. Oh, really bad day. But that low is still higher than when we first started. So that's that whole concept of 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. We got to keep picking ourselves up and keep working towards those things. And in that flexibility of allowing ourselves to go, I messed up today. All right, we got to keep going then. What are we going to do? What else do we maybe now need to add? Okay, that's a little more of an addictions talk in that aspect, but we can still borrow that and put it within what we're talking about today. With that, it allows us then to then create again that routine and momentum, and in connecting with other people, in accountability, in building relationships, we then allow ourselves to realize, hey, I'm a lot higher today than where I was down in my lowest low. And that's a good thing. That is the point, you know, because now we're in a place of, at least as best as I can with the negative circumstances around me, whether it's the past, present, COVID, whatever, now I've taken control of that. And I can now allow that to be able to flow normally within my life and work around it. So when people ask me, wow, have you really been affected? Well, yes and no. I mean, yeah, obviously everyone's been affected, but I know because of doing routine and doing mobile things and continually connecting, doing meetings and, you know, talking with people, building relationships with my family. I know that I haven't been as affected as some people have, if that makes sense. So yeah. And that's not to be like, oh, look at me. No. I'm just saying, I've had my days too, where it's like, oh my gosh, you know, I was joked right at the beginning, you know, the extroverts, I'm going to take a guess. And part of this is based on what Darlene has said, Jennifer, that you're probably more of the extrovert. Darlene, you're more of the introvert, you know, as far as that, you know, and then of course in the middle, they have the newer term called ambivert. Well, I'm going to take a wild guess, Jennifer, that after 2 weeks of self-isolation, you were going crazy. Okay. Meanwhile, Darlene was probably about, I don't know if I talked to you about this, but my guess is probably about a month is when you're like, this is kind of getting annoying. you know, and so it's like, yeah,
somebody.
yeah, it doesn't, it's like, yeah, this is bad, but I'm okay, you know. And so it's good to know that as well, as we know who we are. And then in that, we're then able to then recognize where maybe some of those areas we've talked about, I need to really hone and focus in on in order to bring some stabilization and normalcy in my life. Okay. And out of that, again, going back full circle means we then have to figure out, where do I need to create space? Where has it compressed and where I need to start expanding it out again in the different areas of my life. Okay. Otherwise, you end up with a squished apple pie. And no one wants to eat a squished apple pie. I mean, it all tastes the same, but no one wants a squished apple pie. I want my nice, fluffy, you know, piece of pie that looks nice and well cut and all that kind of stuff, not crumbled up, right?
Awesome.
So.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved it. That is so true. How did you guess that? Like, really? I'm one of those that I need, actually, just from what we've learned today, I need to take a deep breath because I get
really
so excited. I'm like, oh, I even forgot to introduce Darlene. I'm like, oh, we've got, you know, but you are so right. Who wants to eat a squished apple pie?
Oh, yeah.
And I have to say, Jeremiah, I took lots of notes, and our viewers here, and I've had lots of comments, people are tuning in, and they'll be watching this later, is that this was valuable for us.
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
Thank you so much.
Thank
and
you.
creating that space. When you brought the topic, I wasn't sure, but now it just makes so much sense. Like, I love the pie analogy, and then you said about personal, intimate, energize, and how do we create the mobility, connection, and routine. Beautiful. Like, I'll always have that picture. And
Awesome.
I also
Good.
like that you give us the grace to say, if we don't follow, like, just stand up, make 2 steps. Those moving forward 2 steps or 1 step isn't everything we do. Whether it's how we feel, how we're dealing with what's surrounding, the social distance, all that. So that was so impactful. I loved how you talked about flexibility, right? Then we don't beat ourselves and build that pressure again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, my pressure was building up, just having not to be able to hug my friends and all this social isolation. I was, my pressure's building up, and to be able to hear that we can release it so that we don't become a squished pie.
Absolutely.
It's so beautiful.
Absolutely. And I mean, think about it. All right. If imagine if, okay, even if it's just, let's say 50 people, all right, watch this video. That's 50 people that have an opportunity to then begin creating normalcy or more normalcy within their life. And out of that, creating more space in their life, healthy space in the different areas of their life. That 50 people, guarantee you, they're connected to another person. So that's 100 people potentially that have the ability, you know. And so what happens is now you end up with a community, a city, a province, a nation, a world that can now end up in a position where they are now able to. Playing province by TV on the radio. My Surrey has acted up this morning. That's what I said. I said province, and it started playing a group called Province. But think about it. Out of that, we're then able to then not just individually, but it has the opportunity to go into a worldwide movement, if I can honestly be bold and say that, of where we are walking in calmness, in wisdom and caring towards each other. All right. Right. Rather than fear. All right. Rather than walking in, oh, what's going to happen? And is there going to be the second wave? You know, all those different things, you know. No, it doesn't matter whatever happens, because I am now in control and have taken responsibility of what I need to, and then supporting those around in my circle of influence. And out of that circle of influence, hopefully it just grows and expands from there. So just a little bit of vision casting I like to share. So
That's great. So if there's one last thing, because you've given us like lots of nuggets that we need to chew on, and they were beautiful. If there's one message of hope to our community and to our listeners, what would that be? One
message of hope. I would say that there is always hope. There is always hope, because all it is, and again, it comes down to ourselves individually. Really, if it's the one takeaway that I would give today, based on what you're saying, it's begin with creating that individual space for your life. All right. Separate that from the mess ickiness that's happening in life right now, and separate that and create personal space. Begin with the P in the pie. Okay. Take that piece and start working on that. And then out of that, practically the first thing you want to do is create a schedule. All right. Or, you know, they can also choose begin the morning routine. You know, that's a good way to start as well. They kind of work hand in hand, but those are good starts to begin with. Okay. And that might require standing up and taking 2 steps forward. Okay. But there is always hope. All right. It's not, you know, we have to be very careful of the media that we watch, obviously. All right. Not here to slam or go against or for media and stuff. But I always say, think about it. If you are the kind of person who only watched news or listened to news or read about news about a half hour a day or an average, then that's what you need to do in part of your routine. If you're now spending 2-3 hours, you've broken routine. Okay. And most of the stuff anyways that's out now is all redundant, and you know, it's just continue. You know, it's like, wow, what do we do? You know, now we've had some negative circumstances in the news the last couple of weeks and last few months. All of a sudden, it was interesting when you watch the media. Oh, that's our shift now, because we're kind of getting bored of this because there's nothing really new to talk about. And so it just, those are those kind of things that we have to be very cautious of. But we have the ability to control and that in our life in a healthy way, not in an unhealthy controlling way. Okay. So
that is so awesome, right? That we have hope and we can have that control, right? To start with us. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So, Jeremiah, thank you again for joining us and sharing so much information with us. Just very quickly, if somebody would want to go get a hold of you, I know you offer some great counseling services and just some great connection. How would they get a hold of you?
Sure. Well, basically, the practice that I'm out of is called New Life Counselling. That's with 2 L's. It's a Canadian thing, I found out. And with that, New Life Counselling, you can type in New Life Counselling Calgary, I guess, if you're in Brooks. And that's what I like too about things, you know, opportunities such as this, is that with the advent of technology, you know, someone in Brooks might be going, man, I got to go see a counselor. You know, whether it's myself or someone else or a colleague, hey, go for it. Okay. You know, this whole thing might be, it's time to do it. the beautiful thing is you don't have to worry about driving into Calgary or driving to Edmonton or Ontario. You can actually do online counseling now. What we're doing right now, this would, the only difference, although this is more of the interview kind of thing, but this is what we would do. This is what my clients see for those who are doing online counseling. All right. It's just kind of a nice, kind of hopefully warm interior environment. And I'm just talking, you're talking, I'm listening, and we start working through those areas of depression, anxiety, marital issues, you know, relationship issues, that kind of stuff. Anyways, that's a little on the side there. But phone number wise, I can also, it's my work number. It can be texted or emailed. It's 403-690-8617. And then if someone wants to get a hold of me, whether it's through the website, they can also email me at info at newlifecounseling.life.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And we will make sure we put that on our link.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
And also just have, so people can find you.
You bet.
Awesome. This has been an amazing day, and we are right at noon. We keep it to an hour, 45 minutes to an hour, but we had a very good conversation today. So for our viewers out there who are listening, tuning in on Zoom or live Facebook, please, we'll have Jeremiah's contact on our website, which is www.stronger-lifeconnections.com, and we'll have a replay there just in case you missed it. Until next Wednesday, thank you for tuning in, and let's keep the connection.
Great. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.